Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Beneath a Steel Sky for the PC. We went to Link Space for the very first time in the last video, and we now know some things. Overman is Robert Foster. Apparently Robert didn't really know his last name when that crash happened, and so they just called him Robert Foster after the beer. I think the game takes place in a dystopian far future Australia, because Foster's beer, some English accents, or English sounding accents, that are pretty much Australian, and Hobart is a place. And if I remember correctly, I think Hobart is in Tasmania. Anyway, we now have a means of getting into other places now that we have used Link Space to give ourselves some special security perks at the terminal now that we've explored Link Space. And because of that, we have a place where we can go now. Also, we can use the elevator in the security office over here. I just now found out that if I kept going with using the card, the game would have killed me if I had used the card a third time. And the guard would be like, oh, there's a sucker born every minute, and oh, that'll teach him to use stolen ID. And we would have had to restart and then load a game. Also found out that if you went down the stairs at the very beginning of the game, Reich would shoot you, which is kind of weird because you're wanted alive, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's pretty obvious from the intro that they needed you alive. But Reich apparently had no qualms against shooting you. So, now that I got a few things of that sort mentioned, I need to go back to the elevator. Are you kidding me? Why did I click off? Okay, Link. Lamb's using the elevator. Let's go ahead and go down there. Especially now that we have Joey on the screen. And from here, we can go ahead and go down to the middle floor. Okay. Now that that's taken care of, we can now use the elevator that is over here. We could have played around with this elevator up before this point, but I don't think we would have been allowed to go anywhere below this floor until now. So now that we can go down here, now that that's taken care of, we're going to use the card on the slot. We can open this up. We can enter the elevator. Even though Joey's on the screen, he won't follow us down.
Oh no! Joey must have forgotten he'd changed shells. I hope his board isn't broken.
So apparently, Joey decided to drop down like he did with the first body. And unfortunately for him, he could not fly. So now, we no longer have Joey. Which stinks. We're on our own for a little while. But we are now at the bottom level of the city. And we can start looking at things. As you can see, this area is pretty posh, and there are some bricks to click on.
A pallet of bricks suspended from a pulley.
I suppose I can't even get these, can I?
Far far too heavy to lift.
There's also a plank here,
It's pivoted in the middle, like a seesaw.
and I doubt we can do anything with it because of the bricks.
That's too big and heavy to carry.
Didn't think so. Well, there is a guard here. Let us go over to him and talk. And we have a couple of dialogue options that we can go through. Let's ask about the door.
What's through that door? It's off limits to the likes of you. I just wondered where it leads. It's the Old Cathedral. There's nothing interesting in there. In fact, it's empty.
But why guard an empty cathedral?
Why guard an empty cathedral? I'm not guarding it exactly. I'm just standing here, preventing me from entering. Yes.
So they're just guarding the place just because they can, I'm guessing. There's a woman with a dog who just passed by. We saw her when we showed up here. Let's see if he knows her.
Do you know the woman with the dog? Oh, yes. That's Mrs. Piermont, the richest woman in Union City. And the ugliest.
Interesting. Something tells me we'll have to interact with her. What is the best way out of the city?
What's the best way out of the city? There isn't a way out. Then the inhabitants are no better than prisoners. That's the price of progress.
And nobody acts like this is a bad thing at all. Interesting.
Never mind.
So, now that we don't have anything else to talk about with to the guard, there are more areas here to explore, and we might as well go ahead and look through all of them. There's a kid playing a little handheld game console. Let's go ahead and talk to him.
Hello. Who are you?
My name's Vincent. What's yours?
I'm Robert. You can call me Rob.
And we have some more dialogue options. Might as well go through them one by one.
Why aren't you at school, Vincent?
My tutor's malfunctioned. I've tried to reprogram it to play video games.
And it doesn't really matter which dialogue option you pick. I'm just going to pick the first one.
Would you like me to repair your tutor?
Oh, I can do that myself. But then I'd have to go back to my studies.
And from there, we have two more dialogue options left. Let's see what he's playing.
What's that you're playing with?
It's my handheld games console.
Neat. What's the game?
It's called Fleecy the Lamb.
That sounds nice. What's the objective?
Torch the mutant psychos with your flamethrower and stop Dr. Mantis from butchering the orphans.
But that's horrible.
Yeah, I've played better.
That sounds like a game that either would have come out on DOS in 1990 or would be a downloadable title that you'd probably be able to get for $1.99. Depending on the era. Let's see if he has any other games.
What other games have you got?
Not many, 'cause they're too expensive. They're smuggled into the city from Hobart. I've got Nobby, the platform game, Onan the Barbarian, and Revenge of the Deadly Dandelions.
I suppose they keep you out of mischief.
Also, Revenge of the Deadly Dandelion sounds like the name of a micro game. For like the ZX Spectrum or something. I doubt this will do anything, but let's see if he knows a man called Overman.
Do you know a man called Overman?
No, Rob. What do you want to know?
He's my dad.
Aren't you a little old to have a dad?
Last time I saw him, I was a little boy. I was taken away to the Gap.
The Gap? Oh, wow. I'd like to escape to the Gap. I'm tired of being told what to do.
And from here, we can ask him about the woman with the dog
Do you know the woman with the dog?
as she walks by.
That's Mrs. Pearmont, and she's a pig.
That's not a very nice thing to say.
Well, she tried to confiscate my console. She gave me a lecture and tried to force me to join the Junior Security Corps.
Yikes. Well, that's all we can talk about with Vincent.
Don't wear out your thumbs.
And from here, we have a gardener that we can talk to. You might as well
Excuse me.
talk to him.
Smart floral display. Are they real? What do you think? They look kind of shiny. Naturally. I've just varnished them. Do you paint the flowers too? This is Union City, not Wonderland. You obviously know nothing about plants.
And from here, we can ask the gardener about the plants, because why not?
Won't the varnish harm the plants?
Au contraire, Clever Dick. It filters out the crap in the atmosphere.
And we might as well ask him what he's doing with that plant.
What are you doing to that plant?
I'm modelling a living sculpture. It's called topiary, and it's an art form.
Now that we know what he's doing, let's go ahead and ask him what the blue flowers are.
What are those blue flowers called?
They're dandelions. Don't touch them,
They're pretty. But why can't I touch them?
because if you do, you'll wet your bed.
I haven't done that for months.
That is kind of weird. Also, because I forgot to mention it earlier, being asked, aren't you a little old to have a dad, is also kind of a weird question.
See you later.
It just is, as far as I can tell. There is Miss Piermont walking to the west there. And if we take... Actually, before we do that, there are some things that we can look at. We have the terminal.
It's a standard link terminal.
And we also have some plants to look
The
at.
leaves are shiny and waxy.
Of course, we can't really use them if we were to right-click.
It's too firmly rooted to pull up.
There is a button here.
It's the call button for an apartment. There's no reply.
But we can't do anything with it quite yet. It would seem.
The leaves are shiny and waxy.
I doubt I could do anything with this plant.
It's too firmly rooted to pull up.
Thought so. Well, this is all we can do here. We'll go back to the west, but we will do it in the lower half of the screen, rather than the upper half. And from here, we can kind of look around a little bit. And the only thing we can really look at is this door.
The door has an old-fashioned lock on it.
Yeah, I don't suppose I can open it.
Won't open. That's probably because it's locked.
Though a standard metal lock. That's interesting. And there are some things that we can look at. There are two statues. There's also a doorman for the St. James Club. Once again, I am reminded of the Rippingtons.
Excuse me.
Hold it. Your membership card, please.
I don't have one.
This is a private club.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You do now. Piss off.
He sounds nice. Let's ask how we can join the club.
How do I join the club?
You have to be sponsored by an existing member. It's a most exclusive establishment. Frequented only by those with the proper credentials.
You mean people with money?
No, people with credit. There's a world of difference. People with money think they can afford not to care. People with credit know they can't, but don't care anyway.
And from here, we have a couple dialogue options now. Let's ask what goes on in the club first.
What goes on in the club? If I was to tell you that this club provides recreational facilities par excellence for a clientele with elegance and taste, I'd be lying through my teeth.
You just said it was exclusive.
Oh, it is exclusive but seedy. The reason people come here is the cheap booze and the fact that it's off limits to security.
So it's probably a wretched hive for scum and villainy. Got it. Let's mention his shoes. Those red shoes.
Smart shoes. Oh, thanks. You can tell a lot from a man's shoes. The design tells you what kind of man he is. The way he cares for them tells you where he's going.
And what he's trodden in tells you where he's been.
All three sound pretty true. Now, who would sponsor us?
Do you know anyone who'd sponsor me? What about old widow Piermont? She used to come here, years ago. If you chatted her up, she might sponsor you.
I don't know Mrs. Piermont personally.
Oh, you must have seen her with her dog. Mrs. Piermont is the one with 2 legs.
Sheesh, what is with all the verbal jabs towards Miss Piermont?
See you later.
Anyway. There is a door here. We might as well look at it.
Doors are unremarkable, but this one has a certain je ne sais pas.
I thought it was je ne sais quoi, but... okay. Also, while I'm at it, I do like the doorman's French accent. There's also a sign on the door.
Court closed. See link for news of forthcoming attractions. The notice is glued to the door.
I never right-clicked that prior to making this video, so I did not know it was glued to the door. Let's look at the statues, too.
It's a little man carrying a log. Nothing I could use that statue for.
I doubt we would have been able to use the statue anyway.
The big guy's sacks are spilling their contents.
And let's be pixel perfect here, or we can wait for Miss Piermont, one of the two.
Nothing I could use that statue for.
And with that, if we go over here in this direction on the upper path leading east, we can go back to where we originally were. Is there anything else we can do here? I don't think there is. So Miss Piermont is now walking her dog around the bottom level of the city. I'm assuming that this is the much richer part of town. And we will have to talk to Miss Piermont. But that will have to wait until the next video. So, let me go ahead and save the practice file. And then I'm going to put another file right here. Perfect. Join me next time where we talk to Miss Piermont, try to get sponsored, and see where the game takes us from there. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!